Olá pessoal, tudo bem? Meu nome é Rodrigo Nascimento e eu estou aqui hoje com uma pessoa que eu admiro demais, que eu acompanho desde 2010 e é uma honra muito grande falar sobre o mercado de marketing, o mercado de dados e um pouco do momento dele também, que é o Rand Fishkin, e eu estou muito empolgado, muito feliz por tê-lo aqui com a gente. Então logo vamos começar a entrevista para a gente ser bem direto, ser bem objetivo, para também a gente aproveitar o máximo do Rand aqui. Beleza? Hey Rand, thank you so much for being here with us. Like I said, it's a pleasure for me because I follow you since 2010, so it's amazing for me to have you here.
Oh, awesome to be here. Thank you for having me, Rodrigo.
Thank you. So let's start. When you announced that you were leaving Moz, okay, it was a great surprise for us that follow you. For many, perhaps this would be crazy, or they did not understand why, right? So why leave Moz and create Sparktoro that we will talk about next?
Yeah, so, well, let's see. My departure from Moz was partially voluntary, partially involuntary. So it's not, it wasn't entirely my decision, but I think the decision to start Sparktoro obviously was, and that's something that I wanted to do because I had seen this problem around people discovering the publications and people that influence an audience. I'd seen a lot of marketers struggle to find those folks and spend a lot of time and resources and get a lot of inaccurate information back when they did it. And so I wanted to try and build something to help solve that. And I think, and I hope Sparktoro can do that in the future.
Great. Can you tell about Sparktoro for us? What you do? Which information that we can have with the Sparktoro?
Yeah. So first off, there's no product yet. It is still a good 6 to 9 months at least away from being developed. So there's there's a blog and some we put up a little side project, the trending, that shows what marketers are talking about on Twitter, but we don't have a product yet and won't for a little while. But once it is ready, the problem that we're trying to solve is to help people say, I have this audience that I want to reach. What are the publications, people, sources, channels that I can reach that audience through, and in what quantity? So you might try and find blog posts, you might try and find major media outlets, you might try and find YouTube channels or Instagram accounts or podcasts or even events that influence your target audience. And Sparktoro will try to show those to you.
Great. Beyond the Sparktoro, you released your book, right? Lost and Founder. I'm really looking forward to read your book. What can we expect from the book? What you put on the deadlines?
Yeah, so Lost and Founder is really trying to share a lot of the lessons that I've learned, many times painfully learned, over the last 17 years of starting and building Moz, with other entrepreneurs, but also other marketers and folks who are in the tech field or at early stage companies. And it covers a whole range of stuff. So everything from, people and culture at companies to things like who to hire and when to let go of people, what it's like to do layoffs, what causes people to lose focus in a business, some ideas that are a little different around MVPs and building exceptional viable products instead of minimum viable products.
Great. You shared your challenge.
Yeah, and a lot of information also about different funding models and business models for companies. So whether to think about whether you want to be a services business versus a product business, what types of investment you might be able to raise, and how that affects a company, all that kind of thing.
Great. I'm very excited about your book. So one of the most things I really like you love share content, you love share your experience, and no doubt these actions has brought you great results for Rand, for Moz, like Whiteboard Friday. I love the Whiteboard Friday. And one question I always had was, how do you get ideas together to create content guidelines? For example, I have a great knowledge about something, okay? How to gather ideas to generate 100, 200 content per year and have a great content always.
Yeah, I mean, on that front, I would say one of the problems is that one particular topic might not support 100 or 200 pieces of content. It might not even be necessary. I think that rather than starting from this point of I need 200 pieces of content, you should instead be thinking about how am I going to help my audience, and if that is one piece of content, great. And if it's 200 pieces of content, okay. But forcing yourself to have some sort of fixed number might not be particularly healthy and might drive you off track. The other thing I'd say in terms of Whiteboard Friday and the content I produce, well, hey, Whiteboard Friday is only, I did about 45 episodes a year of that, and almost all of those ideas came from people I interacted with at conferences and events, or on Twitter, or over email, or in discussions like this one, right? You'd have a particularly good question, like, oh, that's a great question. I have a bunch more to say on that topic. Let me go film a Whiteboard Friday about it. And I'd go to the Moz offices and put something together. But the good ideas were not always mine. They came from paying attention to other people, right? And I think it's that ability to have a community, to pay attention to what people are looking for, to listen, and then create something that resonates with those people. That's much more powerful than coming up with the idea.
Great. So it's basically with your network on events, on interviews. So you get some part of this interview, and you explore that on Whiteboard Friday or some article on your blog, right?
Yeah. Or I see someone leave a comment somewhere, or someone send a tweet, or I meet someone at a conference. All those things, could turn into content.
Great. Another thing that's always amazing me about you is that from the beginning, when you were just talking about SEO, you always made a point of focus on the business, not on the techniques, right?
Yeah.
Your holistic view on digital marketing, on business, for me, is incredible. What is the crucial points do you think are needed to gain traction for digital marketing, through digital marketing companies that have already had a good growth and are billing already?
So sorry, you're asking about what strategies should a digital marketing, like a consulting company, pursue?
Perfect.
I think that obviously when you're a consultant, serving your clients is the most important thing. But what I see a lot of consultancies being challenged to do is grow beyond their existing client base. So say you have 20 customers that you're serving today, and you're doing a great job for them. It may be that there's another 50 companies out there that you could be serving that are like them, or it may be that you've nearly tapped out your market, at least as far as your network is concerned and who you can reach. And so you need to be going beyond that and reaching a new group of people for your next set of clients. And I think that's a real challenge for many consultancies, is growing that reach. So, one of my big pieces of advice for consulting firms is that if you can build expertise in several areas and then start to apply that both geographically and vertically in an industry, in an area, that can really help you to grow. So for example, let's say today, you have a big network in Sao Paulo, but you haven't yet tapped, the market in Rio, or maybe there's a market opportunity in Portugal that you could reach, or if you're expanding into an English language market, you can reach some folks through that way, right? Or alternatively, you might say, hey, we're doing really well in the travel vertical today, but we also want to serve automotive or consumer packaged goods, or B2B, right, with our services. And so I think that expanding in one of those two directions is very helpful, and it can help to first broadcast your expertise in those spaces and attend events in those spaces and build a network in those spaces before you try and pitch and attract clients in them.
Great. Here in Brazil, a lot of company they are trying to go to technologies and don't worry about the basic things. So it's basically what you said, right? So let's do the basic. So after we worry about the technologies or another strategies out of the box, like we said here. So perfect. In recent years and nowadays, the marketing market has changed completely and very fast. So 5 years ago, we were discussing about SEO, about AdWords, and today we are discussing about chatbots, big data, a lot of things, right? Accompanying this has not been so easy to being updated all the time, but for those who love keeping up to date, it's a little easier. Particularly, cast with a great change the most analytical mentality and the insertion of data in our day. In your opinion, does this change impact on how the formation of marketers? So 5 years ago, we were worried about SEO and the techniques about SEO. Nowadays, which the crucial things that me, like a professional, market professional, I need to worry, I need to be updated about our market, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think that marketers over the last few years have been maybe a little bit too overly concerned with chasing new fads. Chatbots are coming, we need to learn everything there is about chatbots and build a lot of marketing tools around that. Or AI is going to be huge, and so we need to invest heavily in AI, or virtual reality, or nanotech, or whatever it is, right? And marketing doesn't actually work like that. So marketing is a field where it can certainly pay to have knowledge and be an early mover as a technique or a field starts to take off, but there's not a lot of value in adopting something before the market has adopted it. So, getting heavily into VR marketing, when there's so few people, relatively speaking, who are consuming any type of non-video game content in VR, probably doesn't make great sense. You can probably wait a few years to see if VR takes off before you go investing in it. And I think if you have a personal passion, that's one thing. But if you're trying to say, what's optimal for my business, a lot of the fundamentals of marketing are still lacking for many, many companies. And so I think investing in fundamentals and not being a, whatever you want to call it, a trend chaser.
A high-tech company.
Yeah, exactly, hype tech. Yeah, very, very well said. Yeah, not worrying about being a hype tech company is a really good thing. And your customers will appreciate that too, because you're serving them with tactics and tools that their customers are actually paying attention to, instead of ones that, only a fraction of the cutting edge are. And in a bunch of these cases, these techniques go away.
Yeah.
Right? They don't actually get a lot of adoption. Chatbots are a great example where it seems like maybe chatbots are not going to be that big.
Yeah, great. In my opinion, marketing it's about people. So behavior, what what our clients want, right? The technologies, I don't know. It's one of things that help us to make decisions and help us to make some ability. And I don't know. In my opinion, the companies they worry about a lot about technologies and forget about people. So
Yeah.
it's basically what you said, right? Great, great. These days, what can you bring us and tell us about we can harness the data we have available and how to turn them into useful information, not only information. So it's about, you said on content, to create content. Create something that's useful for your users, right? So how can we create something useful to make decision through data?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that is starting with the problem rather than starting with the information. And many folks sort of mix that up, and instead we'll start with, well, hey, we have this amazing data set. What can we do with it? Instead of saying, hey, all these people have this pernicious problem. How can we solve that? Do we have data? Could we go get data that could solve their problem in an accessible, easy way? I think one of the big problems with data too is that it's not always very accessible. It's hard to understand. It can be misleading. You need a lot of sophistication to interpret how to use the data. And I think that anyone who works with information in that way, especially when it's big data, right, on a scale of hundreds of millions, billions, trillions of rows and pieces of data, you need to be able to formulate it and explain it in such a way that even someone who's very unsophisticated could quickly learn what you mean and how to apply. A portion of data use is really about making it more easily accessible.
Yeah, yeah. Today, we have a lot of companies worrying about big data, worrying about new technologies, and our experience here at Buscar ID, our company, the primary data, it's the gold. So we get all the data from the company, and we can change this data and information to make better decisions and create better strategies, tactics, and we can make better our operations. So big data is beyond of what you need today, right? I don't know what you think about that.
It depends what situation you're in.
Yeah.
There's certainly great uses for big data, but a lot of times if you don't have the fundamentals down, investing in some very expensive platform or going and mining a data set for that information is not the best use of your time.
Yeah, I think too. All this change. It's about mindset, right? I don't know. The last 7 years we were worrying about branding, worrying about make a good campaign, and nowadays it's changing for some analytical mindset. Which skills do you believe are crucial in today's for marketers professionals? So you think we need to get some analytical mindset or not?
I think for marketers, an audience and customer empathy mindset is the very best one, right? If you want to if you want to sell something to someone or be in front of them for a purchase consideration decision, I think that the very best way to do that is to understand who they are and then be able to reach them in ways that resonate with them. And a lot of that is storytelling, and it's positioning and branding and, you know, values associations, much more so than it is sort of, you know, data-driven kinds of marketing. And I think that I do see a lot of marketers who spend a ton of time doing their, you know, whatever it is, conversion rate optimization, or their ad copywriting, or their SEO based on small incremental improvements, rather than saying, hang on, maybe this story about our product is not resonating with our audience, and we need to figure out what they're actually looking for. What are they trying to solve? And then not only create that story, but also create that product, create that business, create that journey for them, and then tell that story. And that will, you know, that's often where you find big jumps in performance.
Great. You need to cross all these things, right? Not only to make a good campaign on AdWords or Facebook ads, or just to make a good SEO. So you cross informations and you work about. Great. Rand, thank you so much. For me, it was very rich. Discuss all of these things with you. Your words is very important for me, and I certainly know it's very important for our audience too. So thank you so much for being here again. It's a pleasure for me.
You got it. Anytime. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.